Former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins joins me now along with Sebastian Gorka. All right, Dr. Gorka, I'm sitting here thinking, like, they actually put this flyer out and said, we've done a lot of good things for you. What were some of those again?
Happy New Year, Carl. It reminds me, so we just did a kind of year in review best of on my daily radio show. There's one segment my producer, Jeff, found that got over 1 million views on Rumble. And it was this news item from a couple of months ago where Biden said, I'm so proud of my hunter. And I just went off this kind of stream of consciousness. So what is he most proud of? Is it the Russian hookers? Is it the cocaine? Is it trashing the rental car with his dead brother's AG badge in it? Is it saying I'm in business with the effing chief spy of China? Carl, there's so many things to be proud of when it comes to Hunter Biden. And it's like this. These people either think all of America is stupid or they live in a fantasy land and they actually believe this insanity.
Yeah, it really is. But Doug, you know, all these people who banged pots and pans together, that thought it was the second coming of Christ when Joe Biden was elected, when he was in St. Croix, listen to how the reception was last night. Doug?
Well, look, I think this presidency will become known as the Alice in Wonderland presidency. What is up is down and down is up. I mean, this is just the honesty about this. There's nothing, I mean, and especially when you're yelling stuff at this man, you know, the president, he doesn't seem to really, you know, understand what's going on a lot of times and actually thinks that they like him. But this is the problem that they are spinning. And unfortunately, they're spinning it pretty well because you still have about half the country that'll probably end up trying to vote for him. And I think that's the problem that we really need to focus on as Republicans, is setting this out. And we've got to take this seriously, that this presidency is being propped up by the media and being propped up by the spin doctors in, as you well pointed out there, on social media and others, TikTok and others, so that they can get the desired outcome of bigger government and more oppression for us. And I think we can't take that for granted anymore. We've got to be able to put that message out this year.
Yeah, Seb, for every data point, though, that the Biden administration points to, there's another one that's more accurate, data to point that shows how far down they've dragged us. I mean, Biden says, hey, look at how the stocks have rallied. And then compared to what they were under Trump, look at this. That is how much they went up under Trump. That red line is Trump, significantly more over his entire presidency, and that includes the pandemic.
Yeah, look, let's, you know, Doug knows this better than anyone. You know, there are lies, damn lies, and then there are statistics. And you look at how they play with inflation. They actually stand at the podium. Biden, what is it, Chris Plant calls it, Corinne Jean-Pierre, and they say, did you know that inflation dropped last month? Hey, honey bunch, we measure inflation over years, right? How is the inflation year to date as it was last year? How are mortgages? Look, forget everything else. You can't spin this, okay? I refinanced my home under the last administration, President Trump, and I got 3.6%. It's knocking 8% now. I don't care who you believe. Tell me what your mortgage percentage is and then get back to me.
How about fuel prices or anything like that? But Doug, today, for the second time in like 2 weeks, Hamas, they had these protesters. They have shut down access to the JFK Terminal 4. I mean, like, at some point, you got to get these people the hell out of the road.
Yeah, it's like trying to arrest them. Okay. You know, again, one of the things that is, I'm all for protests, civil protests. That's what our country is fond of. But, you know, it is amazing to me that now we treat the protesters, you know, especially those who are breaking the law, not as protesters breaking the law. We treat them as special. And I think this is the problem that we need to have. Protest is something that's American-based. But look at how many times, again, when you have the differences of protest, when you look at it from the perspective of we're not going to touch them because we were going to be challenged by our liberal friends, that this is what's right, even when they're not even saying things that are actually accurate. But this has got to stop. This is what, again, I'm praying that this year that the Republicans and conservatives will have a message that is on target. Quit chasing every squirrel that comes around and keep it on the facts of what's happening in this country. Bad economy, bad statistics in our cities, and we have an open border that is just, you know, taking the life out of us because, frankly, we have no way to stop it, and we got fentanyl coming across that is taking precious lives from us.
Right. Well, speaking of precious lives, Seb, there was reports that they launched a balloon near the runway at JFK today to divert flights. And I mean, that's like a catastrophic error if a plane were to hit one of these major balloons.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And let's be clear here. These aren't, First Amendment freedoms and just regular protesters. Who are they on the side of? I spent 20 years in counterterrorism before I entered the White House. This isn't, protesting for some group somewhere. They're on the side of Hamas. They're on the side of the Gazans. 70% of the people in Gaza openly admitted they support the events of October the 7th. Yeah. This isn't somebody, protesting for, less oil use in America or protesting that we should have, something slightly changed in tax policy. These are pro-terrorists. These are people who are fine with the beheading of unarmed men, the roasting in ovens of children. That, we don't support that in America, and these people must not be seen as just another group of protesters. They're supporting genocidal maniacs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, Doug,
Carl,
think
about this real quickly. Yeah, Carl, think about this real quick. If they're saying this about anti-Semitism running amok in Israel, and our Israel students and our Jewish students are not safe on campus, can you imagine if one of these folks actually came out and said something about the transgender community, or they said something about some other protected group that's in favor? I mean, this wouldn't be happening. So this is the Alice in Wonderland effect that's got to be put out there.
I mean, it's a social justice monster eating itself. Doug Collins, Sebastian Gorka, appreciate you being here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.